Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wine List Legends. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name's Harry Crowther. I'm the founder of Grain to Grape, which is modern profitable wine training, and I am mad excited to be joined by a really inspirational guy. It's Milos Danihelka, is the owner of the awesome Le Fleur bar in Prague, far and away my favorite bar in Prague, in the Czech Republic, of course. Milos, how are you, my man?
Hi, brother. Hi, brother. It's nice to see you finally again.
So, I know, mate. I know. It's been too long. I'm looking forward to eventually coming over and having a glass or a bottle of champagne with you, mate.
few bottles is better every time, you know.
100%, dude. Okay, listen. For anyone that a lot of the people watching this might not have even been to Prague. Okay, so can you just introduce yourself, introduce Le Fleur a little bit, and tell everyone that's watching what it's all about and what you guys do?
Yeah. I'm let's say not the owner, but the creator or founder of Le Fleur bar in Prague, which is a combination of cocktail and champagne bar directly in the old town city. We start our journey in March 2015, and since this time we reach a lot of nice moments, a lot of efforts, and we have also a nice volume of the regular guests which are coming quite often to our bar for cocktails or for spirits, and of course for the champagnes. The idea was to create a place which will be inspired by the France, because in Czech Republic there was so many very nice cocktail bars inspired by Cuban influence or United States influence, like a prohibition bars and those stuff. But we hasn't here some cocktail bar which will be inspired or connect somehow with the France. And in France was also born a lot of very nice classic cocktails. And I'm also a big champagne lover, so that's why I want to connect those two things together, and I think it works, because also champagne is possible to drink during the whole night as the cocktails. That's why we start
day as well, no?
Sorry?
All day for breakfast through
yeah to breakfast, let's say to breakfast. So on the first list we had about 160 different cuvées from champagne. Let's say 100 of them was from small producers, from vignerons, which is meaning the growers from Champagne, which are producing champagne wines directly from their own grapes, from their own vineyards. Because champagne in like a traditional way is to buy the grapes from the several different growers and create a blend which is following the style of the house. But in a grower champagne, I found the same aim, let's say, as in the different wines. I mean, the still wines, like in Burgundy or in other regions. And this is, I think, a little bit closer to my heart, also to my palate, to my stomach, to me, basically. And I met the champagne like this during the first journey which I had in Champagne in 2008. I had the opportunity and very nice and rare chance to visit so many prestigious places, so many very nice houses. We started in Perrier-Jouet in Epernay, after we moved to Moet Chandon, Bilecar Salmon, Boulanger. Also in Reims we visited Ruinart, Tétanger, Veflico, and Krug. It was fantastic trip, of course, full of the very nice wines. But the wines which was like a most or biggest surprise for me during this trip was from L'Armanier Bernier, from small producer in the south part of Côte de Blanc in Vertou. And when I hear the philosophy and the way how they are thinking about the winemaking and wine growing, it was something a little bit different than I heard before from the big houses. And I was very surprised when in the Czech Republic, in Prague, or in the whole Czech Republic, we have a bigger portfolio of these small producers. That's why I start also a company for import to Champagne and distribute to Champagne in Czech Republic, which is called terroirchampagne.cz. And now in the present days, we are working with 21 different growers, let's say, from Champagne, which is meaning about 240 different cuvées which we are importing.
So would it be safe to say that not only obviously you've got Le Fleur and you've got a phenomenal wine list, which I want to get onto in a bit, but you've also got this importing exclusivity sort of wing to what you do as well. So it's probably safe to say that you are the most influential person in Czech Republic certainly for grower champagne, right?
For grower champagne, I think yes. Yeah. There is also incredible. There are some other friends which have the same passion as me, but maybe because they are from the different background, let's say, they were working before one group of them are like musicians. Another my friend, which is my partner for La Bouteille de Champagne festival for growers.
Yeah.
He was coming from IT sector, so I already had some like roots deep in the gastronomy segment. That's why maybe because that I have that like influence, and of course I am not shy to speak with the others. So, the bartenders are like this, they are a little bit more extravagant, let's say. That's why now I have like a lot of friends, a lot of people who ask me about the trends in Champagne, and I'm very happy for a chance to share these experiences, this knowledge with them, and this passion with them, of course.
Yeah. So I mean, it's incredible, and I've been many times to visit you, and I was blown away by your offering. I think it's one of the most impressive champagne lists I've ever seen, if not the most impressive. How's it been? Have you had any issues, or have you had any difficulties, obviously, introducing a grower wine list to the Czech Republic and to Prague? How's that gone down with locals? Has it been better with tourists? People you're fighting against the Grand Marques, no? And so has there been any difficulties with that, especially being, a cocktail bar as well?
Yeah. On start, as I told, that we had about 160 different cuvées on the list. About 100 was from the growers, about 60 of them was from the Grand Marques, from the big brands, let's say. But from the Grand Marques, we had only vintages versions or prestige cuvée range, not the basic ones, not the basic cuvées which you can find almost everywhere, on the gasoline pumps or on like light night shops. We can find them everywhere. So the idea of Leffler was to create or to bring to Czech Republic or to Prague something like unusual, something which you can't meet everywhere. That's why we choose this, and we had a great success. Of course, the start was a little bit harder because when the people saw on the list or on the windows which we have the name Champagne, they start to asking me only about this, like a big and very well-known, famous.
What's this? Why is it so expensive?
No, it wasn't like this. When they see Champagne, the people from Czech Republic usually connect the word Champagne with the prestige maisons, with the Moët Chandon, Vefrico, Boulanger, and they ask me only about these wines. And since start, it was a little bit tough for me to explain what is going on in Leffler, what we want to show, why we are like that different. And it was also about to keep some like a trust to myself from the side of the guests. It takes some time. I wasn't like a push them like, this is the problem. I think in the present days, a lot of people in the gastronomy maybe had like a nice idea. They want to do the good things, but they maybe sometimes push the people too intensively, too much to do like natural wines and those stuff. I think this must be like a quite calm and naturally processed, That's why there was, for example, there were like two ladies which coming every Friday for like 2 bottles of Vefrico Rosé vintage. And after like, let's say, 4th or 5th visit, I start to slowly not push them, but show to them like the differences. I say like, it's very nice when you are coming like that often, when you're buying these like beautiful wines, but maybe it's time to try something a little bit different, And I already had their trust. That's why they agree. And since the time they're coming still quite often, and they are like looking for so many different champagne wines in the present days. The way was like this. At the moment, we have about 320 different cuvées at the bar. I start to cooperate with another very talented vigneron, Zavor Casanova or Maxi Moudier, and those guys, which are like very nice and which like destroy me by their stuff. So I can't to keep it in the champagne. That's why I bring them also to our collection in a terroir champagne and also in Leffler bar. So now it's list quite large. And my idea for the like a soon future is to collect the wines from all 17 regular sub-regions of Champagne to do Czech Republic. I'm missing at the moment just Vitriat and Cezanne, but I think the rest is done already.
So you have 15 out of 17 covered.
More. At the moment, I'm working with the 21 producers. from like a very prestigious places or prestigious areas, like a Côte de Blanc, like a Montagne de Reims, like a Val de la Marne. I have already several producers which represent like a, you know, for example, when we speak about the Côte de Blanc, from south part of Côte de Blanc, I am working with André Jacquard. From central of Côte de Blanc, I am working with Madame Fallet Prévosta. And from the north part of Côte de Blanc, I'm working with Adrien Dont, which have vineyards in Cuy and Crama mainly. And for the all region as a Côte de Blanc, I'm working with family Doyard. So from this like area, I have like 4 different producers. Something similar is with Montagne de Reims. From the south part, I'm working with Pierre Paillard. From the north part, I'm working with Adrien Renoir, which is also like a young, very talented producer with interesting wines only from Verzy Grand Cru. And from Poussiou, I'm working now newly with Aurore Casanova also.
Yeah.
So from these locations, I have a little bit more producers, but they are areas like you know, like Massif des Saint-Thierry, where I am working with Domaine des Marzilly. Maxime Lens is the producer. Very talented guy, focused on Meunier. In the wine, when you taste it, you can find the uniqueness of the terroir. So it's perfect representative for my portfolio of the area Massif des Saint-Thierry.
Yeah. And does everyone that you import make it onto your wine list, or do you keep some back for your sort of, you know, your importing side of things? Because
yeah, this is quite hard sometimes because the allocations for some cuvées are super small for Czech Republic because we are not like super crazy. yeah. It's true. Basically, yeah, because the idea about the terroir champagne company start with focus on Le Fleur, to having these wines in Le Fleur mainly. Pardon. I just need to keep our cleaning lady. She needs to wait.
No problem.
Sorry, it's done. She understands very well. So yeah, basically we start to import the wines for the Le Fleur bar, but after let's say several tastings or few tastings, where we also host some sommeliers from another restaurants and another bars, they were agree or they want to also put these wines on their list. So now we are working with, I don't know, maybe 50 different places also, which are buying from us champagnes for their restaurants, bars, also hotels. It's good, but the primary idea was to bring the wines for a Le Fleur bar.
Yeah,
this is true.
So when you're writing the list of someone, I mean, list construction, list engineering for me is fascinating topic. I can't remember off the top of my head because it's been a while now since I've been able to have the pleasure to visit you. How do you break your list down? Do you, because obviously it's specifically champagne. I can't remember if you have any still wines. Maybe you do.
Just a little bit, yeah. Because during the night time, there is not so much people who want to enjoy the still wines in Czech Republic or in Prague. Maybe yes, but around us there are also some very nice, very nice wine bars as Bokovka.
Yeah, great bar. That was your recommendation to me. I love it. Great bar.
Yeah. So that's why the people who are searching more for the still wines, they have some options just around us. Maybe that's why we are not that successful with the selling of the still wines. But now I'm planning to put on the new list some Coteau Champenois, which is a still wine also from the Champagne region, which is quite interesting, I think, because now we are with the Coteau Champenois, we are going back to history in the times where the French kings enjoying the wine.
No?
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
And
now, how do you break down the champagne listings? Do you list it by region or by style? How does that work for you?
By both. I want to have on the list like the complexity, let's say. Right. You know, if somebody is looking for wine from, let's say, south part of the region, there must be some several options. There must be something like based on Pinot with more like a full-bodied, let's say, barrique fermentation and those stuff. But on the other hand, there must be something like a very smooth, light, also like a based maybe on Pinot Noir, but from the tank, from the steel tank, which is not that like a dominant, which is not that opulent, which is more like a straight. You know, for example, you know, that like a representative of that like a more robust style, more like a full-bodied style of Pinot Noir from South can be Cuvée Fidèle from Vouet-Sorbet from Bertrand Gauthereau. And on the other hand, the wine which is represented opposite is also can be Pinot Noir, like a Côte Valdevillaine from Cédric Bouchard from Roses de Jeanne. You know, the wines, the vineyards are quite close to each other, just like a few kilometers of distance. The vinification, the taking of the care about the vineyards is basically the same. Vinification is different because Bertrand is using oak barrels, Cédric is using stainless steel tanks. The wines are similar, but also very different. You know, the type
and
of
it's amazing.
body.
It's amazing the versatility, and I think this is what the grower movement does, and this is obviously what you do so well, is actually showcasing the versatility in champagne, because so many people associate it just to be, you know, nothing. I'm not saying anything bad about the Grand Marques. I think they've done a fantastic job for the region, etc. But they do just provide these very consistent styles. And I think what you're doing with the list and what you're trying to push, and also what the growers are doing, is just nurturing that kind of flexibility and versatility of the region, which I think is amazing. What do you touched on it earlier about your two guests who come in and used to drink Veuve Rosé, now they're drinking something new, which is fantastic. How do you work with the rest of your team on the champagne? Because I've been to your bar and it's a phenomenal cocktail bar and the cocktails are awesome, but everyone that works there tends to, you know, is a great bartender. I know you're like the sort of sommelier, if you like, but do you do staff training on the champagne as well?
Of course. I'm doing like a lot of tastings, a lot of degustations, let's say, and also for our staff to explain what we have here, because when we don't know what we have here, when we didn't taste these wines, how they can serve them, you know, how you can them recommend to our guests. This is very important thing. Okay, it's cost something, but this is necessary. You know, that's why now there's problem after the COVID, because part of my team stayed in the jobs which they found during the pandemic COVID, and they want to stay in this jobs at least until the end of this year, because they want to see what will going on, how it will work after.
No one knows, right?
Because, because there was of course some like a support from government side, but it wasn't enough, you know, for them. They have still some bonuses which they were paid when they reach some like a target in the bar, and also the tips which can't to be, you know, also covered by the government side. They create like a big difference between their like salaries. So that's why they choose to work in different jobs at the moment, totally out of the gastronomy segment. And they are waiting what will happen. So now it's time for me, because I have like, let's say 60-70% of the team totally new, to push them again, you know, to show to them everything. And we have, let's say, basically like one last month, because if as you know, in the Prague during the summer we haven't like a main season for us is starting in the mid of September, and it's finished with the New Year's Eve or something like that. So now we have like last, let's say, 1.5 months to for like a study, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually we're seeing that here as well. One of the main problems for training, I think now, well, it's not a problem, it's actually a solution in many ways, but we have, because of Brexit, but also because of the pandemic in the UK now, we have a new demographic of people to train. We have brand new people, you know, because so many people have gone back to their homes in Europe or further afield, and they're not coming back, or they're struggling because of Brexit or the pandemic. So now we've just got this new wave of staff that we need to nurture, and we need to get trained up as well. So the training side of things in the wine trade for me is actually going to be really interesting in the next few years. So we're going to, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think it's got to be a little bit more based on confidence instead of knowledge, and talking about, not talking about the soil too much, not talking about altitude or the terroir too much, just focusing on confidence and how to talk about wine with the customer. You know, if this is interesting for them, then they will get the knowledge. But first, we need to do the confidence. So I think it's good to have with your team, and that's the first step for me to confidence.
The first was like to speak, you know, to introduce the region, its history, its regular like area, the uniqueness. Now we speak about it like a soul and attitude and those stuff. of course, because it's also important because it makes some like a touch on the final wine. And they need to understand also these like differences have playing like a big role for the taste and the dynamic and texture of the final wine. And after we need to speak also about the different techniques, about how to take care about the vineyards, or what is meaning organic, what is meaning biodynamic, what is meaning this, what is meaning working with the desteaming grapes. There is so many things to explain. And of course, the staff, when they are like professionals, they must know, they have to know what is going on. And of course, they need to also know when and how to speak with the guests. There are some people who are really interesting about that, who want to go that deep, you know, who are like looking forward for these like informations. But of course, there are also the people who are interested only about the taste, only about the flavors, nothing else.
Yeah.
And this is also like a part of our job to recognize if that like a guy is like interested about these like deep informations or not. If he's like attention only just like, okay, it's okay, the wine, it smells nice, it tastes well, this is perfect, thank you very much, and you have to left, you know, the table and come just like to pour another glass or something like that. This is also which we need to learn and which we must learn to our people who are working with us. It's the same with the cocktails, you know. You could speak hours about how you made your own cordials and tinctures and those stuff, but sometimes, you know, the people, they don't care about that. So
that's a good point, actually. I've never thought about it like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's can tell you're from a bar background, as well as being super knowledgeable about wine. Listen, Milos, we're going to wrap this up soon, but before we do, I just want to ask you. I'm not going to ask you who your favorite producer is or your favorite wine is, because you know you've got fantastic relationships with your growers, and that's you know, that's part of your business. But you know, a couple of great producers to maybe watch out for that you recommend, you know, to me to look out for. For example, you introduced me to Prevost. Okay, so
Jérôme Prévost,
and now I'm a huge fan of his wine. So anything you know, new or you know, just drinking really well at the moment.
It's hard, you know, as I explained to you many times. It's not like only one producer. There was so many producers which put me on knees by their wines, you know. And also I'm super happy to spend the time with them, to work with them, to have that chance to represent them in our small market. So, and of course, it's really I can't to say like I have only one producer which I love every time. Okay, maybe
I'm putting you on the spot there. I apologize.
It's not like about I don't want to be like a politic, because sometimes you want to taste this, sometimes you want to taste something a little bit different, of course. You know.
And of course,
maybe I can speak. Maybe I can
changing every vintage because of the, you know, it's vintage specific and more terroir.
But also you need to find the stamp or the uniqueness, or let's say how they call it, like the soul of the parcel or the wine into a final wine. Of course, this year I think will be super hard. A lot of wines will be not produced, especially from Montagne-Grasse and Val de la Marne, because there is not so much grapes at the moment on the vineyards. But even if people like Christophe Mignon or Champagne La Parse or Frank Pascal and those guys who produce wines, you have to recognize if this is their wine, you know, every time. Maybe, you know, my like of favorites for years are mentioned Prévost, Jérôme Prévost is my big love every time. Also the guy who influenced me quite a lot, or guys at the moment, are Anselme Selos and Guillaume Selos, because they influence, I think, the whole region, or especially Anselme influenced the whole region, of course. You know, Olivier Colin from Champagne-Ulysse Colin, guys from Fleury, I mean, like Pierre, also Jean-Baptiste, I think both the father and son, they did a very great job. There is so many great producers. Maybe when I will start from south to north, from south part of Champagne, I really like Olivier Oriot and his wines. He's a great guy from Le Rizet. He has also very nice Le Rizet. From Côte d'Ivoire, there is mentioned Cédric Bouchard, who amazed me so many times by his wines. Charles Dufault, Bertrand Gautreau from Wet-Sorbet, Domaine de Bichery, Rafa and Hannah. They are producing super nice wines, and they are super young. You know, they're producing wines, I think, for the last 5-6 years. The wines are on the market last 2 or 3 years, and they are super amazing. So this is also a grower or producer who is really deserve to following, to looking for. Mongiu, there is for me like one guy, one king. It's Emmanuel Lassen, Champagne Jacques Lassen. Super nice vigneron with amazing, excellent wines from the terroir. In Côte du Petit Morin, yeah, there is a trio for me. Uliscolan, Champagne Uliscolan. After there is a Maxime Oudiet and Aurélien Clément. Maxime Oudiet also amazed me a lot by his first wine, which he put on, which he launched just like last year, Le Gras de Whale, which is a single parcellar Chardonnay, single parcellar Blanc de Blanc from 15, 16, and 17 vintage. It's amazing. When you will have time or chance to buy this wine, because he produced only 1,200 bottles, go for it, because it's amazing.
Yeah,
From Côte de Blanc, there is so many producers. You know, Doyard, you know, when I'm working with them for last 6 years, last 5 years, also I'm working with them in the pressoir and in the cuvée as a guy who is, you know, pressing the grapes, who is doing the debourbage, chantonnage, and those stuff. I am super happy for this opportunity, and of course, I love their wines and philosophy. Adrien Dont, he's a rocket. This guy is like a super young, but he's a talent. I don't know, it's totally crazy. You know, he was awarded by the award of the best vigneron in Champagne in his 26 years. What the fuck? It's crazy. These wines are superb, you know. Jean-Marc Select with from Coteau d'Epernay. It's also another very young and talented guy who is doing a very great job, and it's possible to see this evolution with every one vintage, how it's going up and up and up. You already can say like these wines are already perfect. It's impossible to put something more. And he showed you with another base or another vintage when it is possible. It's crazy. The same with Fabrice Pion from La Grande Vallée. It's also another totally extremely great producer. You know, so it's impossible to say only like one guy, one producer, or one wine. You know, I'm very happy.
No, I get that, mate. I get that. No, that's, and obviously everyone you've just mentioned, you're working with, yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone, because with Cédric Bouchard or with Fleury or with Charles Dufour, I'm not working, but I like them. You know, I met them. I have opportunity to come to taste their wines. I like their style, and they are maybe imported. They are imported to check by someone else.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to also speak about the vignerons, which are not like working directly with me, but which producing the great wines. I want to represent Champagne in general, not only like my terroir Champagne range. You know, this is it.
Listen, I think I've never met anyone that represents Champagne, you know, better than you, honestly, mate. And I was so impressed that when I came in and saw the list, you know, it really is the best sparkling wine Champagne list I've ever seen. So we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate your time. For anyone watching who finds themselves in Prague, hopefully in the not too distant future, travel permitting, please check out Milos and the team at Le Fleur. It's not just a phenomenal grower champagne list, it's a fantastic cocktail offering as well. And it's just one of the best places to go to sit there for hours. It's really chilled out, really relaxing, and
thank you very much.
Come back and visit you soon, my friend. But listen, you're a wine list legend, and I'm, you know, thank you for what you're doing for Champagne, and you know, you're one of the most influential Champagne people I've ever met. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bro. I really
thank you very much.
It. And we will talk soon. And I hope to give you a hug soon as well, mate.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's a long time already.
I know, dude.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ray.